Welcome everyone to the FLF pod. I'm here with my co-host Jeromie. This pod is brought to you by J3VC. I'm Jason, your host for today. And today we are going to dive into a fairly simple but important and trending topic, and that is what is going on in the world of crypto. And particularly we want to, discuss the difference just between investing into crypto and investing into real estate. And so, Jeromie, how are you today? And what are your thoughts on our topic for today?
I'm doing absolutely great, Jason. I think the topic today is very important. We're bridging the gap between the traditional real estate investor and I think the younger, which is predominantly younger crypto investor. And hopefully we can provide some knowledge to both people, whether they're on the crypto side or the real estate side, and we can explain some of the differences and benefits and downfalls of either.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think also to set like some context, I heard recently about, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is like the purchasing power parity in like nations around the world, like has greatly fluctuated. So I heard recently that Vladimir Putin made the argument that the purchasing power parity in Russia for Russian citizens is markedly higher than it is for citizens in Great Britain. And so that was one point that he was making about justifying, the nature of his good governance, and whether that's accurate or not. But that was his argument, his defense. And I think a second point regarding context is that essentially the purchasing power parity over time, or the buying power for the average individual in the West, whether it's in Australia, the UK, US, has gone down markedly. And so one example of that would be that I think nowadays, like it used to be that to save for a first home deposit in Australia took maybe like 4 years in our parents' generation, and now takes anywhere between 11 to 12 years just to save for that first deposit. And so the proportion of wages that go towards housing has now skyrocketed, which has meant that basic utilities, basic needs have now increased massively, along with inflation. Just the average cost of goods and services has just massively increased, especially in the United States and around the world. And so these changes have happened like really, really fast. So the world continues to change quite quickly. And as a result, one of the trends, especially in the younger generation, is people are looking more and more towards investing as a way to outpace inflation, rectify their purchasing power parity that's getting wrecked by generating more cash flow and having, diversified options. And so that's where we come to kind of discussing like the difference between and the values between investing into crypto and investing in real estate. Now, with crypto, we're seeing right now that there's a huge uptick in the market, and Bitcoin's exceeded 100K, and people who've hodled like are celebrating, and a Trump in office is having like a big effect. As a real estate investor, Jeromie, like what's your outlook on crypto as a former trader yourself and being in the crypto market? And how do you view investing in real estate with everything that's going on in the world today?
Yeah, well, I think I can go back and break that down in a way that everyone can understand. So basically how the economy works, let's tell a little story. So let's say I grow cattle and I sell meat, and I want some vegetables as well. And you grow vegetables. And then we decide that, okay, when we're buying and selling our meat and vegetables between you and I, what we're going to do is, instead of trading pieces of meat for vegetables, let's use seashells. And so we go down to the beach and we pick every single shell we could find off the beach, and we come back with 100 shells. And then you have 50 and I have 50. And then every time we trade in seashells. And you can imagine what the prices could be for a bit of vegetables or a bit of meat. It might be, 10 seashells, 15 seashells for a whole bunch of food, right? And imagine we're doing this for 6 months. And then some guy comes on a boat and he brings 500 seashells and just walks in between us and says, I want to buy your meat and I want to buy your vegetables. What would the price of our meat and vegetables do if that happened? Because If we're buying it for 10 or 15, he'd go, oh, that's so cheap. I've got like a boat full of them. I can pay that easily. And so what he's going to start doing, he's going to start injecting seashells into our little bartering system. And I'll give you a long story short, in 6 months, everything would have gone up 5x in regards to the amount of seashells to buy some vegetables or buy some meat. So that's what's just happened in basically the entire Western economy.
So you're saying this is a function of he's selling seashells on the seashore?
That is exactly right. That's exactly what's happened. Some guy with a boat's come, and that's the Fed, or depending where you are, and they've printed more money in recent history than has existed before. And then so therefore what happens is there's more seashells or there's more cash chasing the same amount of stuff that existed before. So there's just more cash and the same amount of stuff. So the price goes up. And why this affects crypto, most cryptos are a Ponzi scheme, and most of them pump and dump, which means that the person creates the crypto to try and get people excited, and they get people to buy the crypto, exchange their dollars for crypto. What happens to most of them is as soon as that crypto gets to a certain level where the holder of most of the crypto is happy with that, he sells all of his to the market and exchanges his crypto for dollars. And then that drives the price down so low that no one buys it again. So it's like dumping, it crashes the market. Yeah, knowing that the benefit of Bitcoin, I'll try and keep it simple. So there's a certain amount of Bitcoin that's going to be released, and that is unaffected by anyone. There is no one, no person, or no entity which can create more Bitcoin. It's impossible the way it's done. There's a little bit more will come out, but I won't go into that. But say Bitcoin, it's easier to assume there's no new supply. So imagine that Bitcoin, you can't make any more of it. And let's even swap that into, say, my meat or your vegetables. You can't make any more of it. We've got a certain amount. All the cows are dead. I slaughtered the whole herd. There's only a certain amount of meat left. And all of a sudden, that guy on the boat comes around and injects an enormous amount of seashells into our economy. That's going to drive the price of the meat up because there's a lot more cash chasing the meat, or in this example, there's a lot more cash which is chasing the very limited supply of Bitcoin. It's a function of that, and also demand from the people. And so as people learn that more and more, that's how it works. I believe the price of Bitcoin over the longer term, over years, is going to continue going up, because unless there's a change in governments, and if that boat comes and they print money again, all that's going to happen is it's going to be more dollars chasing less crypto and less stuff, and that's going to make the houses go up and our everyday food and everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's on a macro level. What do you think about on a micro level? I've heard from quite a few investors who, are running this bull market and in crypto, and then looking to, take profit and then invest into hard assets, into real estate. What's your take on this like micro strategy that people are undertaking in this economy?
I think that's incredibly intelligent. If anyone's invested, say X dollars, 100 grand, 5 or 10 years ago, and then it's worth what it is now, and they pull out a portion of it, put into real estate, I think that's incredibly intelligent, because what they're doing is they've increased the amount of liquid cash they have by a considerable amount over that time. And then if they move that cash into real estate, they're de-risking their portfolio as a whole. So not all of it, a portion of it. I think those people are very, very intelligent. They're diversifying and de-risking even more than holding crypto. I think, unfortunately, there are some people who are crypto diehards and believe this is absolutely the future, and they've literally sold everything they own to go into it. I think that if you have done that and you have made a considerable return, I would strongly consider, if it was me, pulling some of that out and putting it into different types of assets, because there's a chance something can happen. There's always a chance an asset class can go down a lot. And if there's a big hit in the crypto market, then their entire portfolio is wrecked. I think diversification is the key if that's the position you're in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what would be your advice on like liquidity and accessibility? Like obviously there's a few issues there around like speed and complexity between like cryptocurrency versus like, more traditional real estate. What's your take there?
Well, depending on the crypto you're in, I'll just use Bitcoin as an example. The liquidity is always there, and there's volatility in the market, and the profit you make money when it's volatile. That's sort of how it works. Real estate's less volatile, so volatility you can make and lose money. So crypto's like financial player versus player combat. Everyone's trying to buy low and sell high, and everyone's fighting each other on a financial world. It's like the battle of the brains. But in the real estate market, the whole point is it moves slowly. So if you've got, let's say you're 100% into crypto, you can go to sleep and wake up and 30% of your wealth's gone. Like that's a possibility, and that wouldn't put me at ease. It can also go up 30% overnight, 20%. These sort of swings happen. But the benefit of real estate is you can lay your head on the pillow at night and understand, as long as you haven't purchased something that's going to fall down or made any absolutely ridiculous mistakes. So as long as you haven't done that, you can lay your head on the pillow at night and not have to worry about it.
So how would you yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so understanding that the current policies in Australia is we're shipping people in by the boatload, and that's not going to stop. Both of our, let's just say, all of our political leaders, one of the parties is like, we need heaps of people, and the other one's like, oh, we don't need heaps, but we need a lot. So it's like, which way is it going to go? And the current climate in building is they're not building anywhere near enough houses for these people. Like, it's not even close. So if you understand the market, so we're going to have more people and less houses in the real estate market.
Yeah. 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 So I guess like in your context, you're specifically in Australia, and there is a housing supply shortage as a result of like many factors, and crypto is being heavily affected by like the regulations in in what's happening in the US and in different countries around the world. Like, not that you're giving out any financial advice, but what's your way of like
advice.
what's your way of evaluating like the risk that's out there in both of those categories?
Well, the risk and reward in crypto is the volatility, and the risk and the reward in the real estate is the stability, relative stability compared to traditional means. So I don't have I'm not a Mr. Producer. I'd like to bring a graph up. So if you are talking about Australian real estate for sale, you bring a graph up of the last 100 years, you just see this. It just goes up. And then you look at a graph from crypto from its inception, whenever it was 2009. Look at that graph. That thing's like a 4-year-old drawing a dinosaur. Like, it's crazy. It trends up, but the volatility is the world had seen nothing like it when that started. So you see like stock indexes, and stocks sort of do this, and then they'd come down a little bit, and the stock prices continue to go up. The S&P 500 or the index funds just continue to go up. But crypto is it's just crazy, man. Like, and the real estate's the same. So if you want to like jump on a roller coaster and just hang on and be like, whoa, that crypto is your thing. But if you want something with a little bit more stability, then real estate I believe is the way to go. And especially if you've made considerable money in crypto, I think it'd be a fantastic idea to buy a little bit of real estate. Actually, someone I know who is a crypto trader, very, very wealthy guy, him, a mutual friend of ours, that's what he's doing right now. He's buying some real estate. He's made heaps of money in crypto, and I was actually helping him with some things to get him into real estate.
So I think one of the trends in like with the younger generation is the valuing of speed. Don't want to say necessarily it's get rich quick, but people want quick results, fast results, and the volatility in crypto is like quite appealing. Whereas you could make the argument that investing into real estate is, a bit more stable, but it's, potentially quite slow comparatively. And, you're looking at longer time horizons. Like, what would you say to people who are like, just leaning more towards speed? And I feel like that's one of the tenets of the younger generation. They're looking at just how quickly can I get my money back and my money out and my money moving it along. And we know that money does love speed. So how would you address that and the trend that's happening with this younger generation?
I would advise them that if they're considering buying a crypto coin due to advertising or due to the general public's perception that that coin is going to go to the moon, as they say, reconsider that. No, I probably wouldn't buy that one. I'd be trying to find the wealthiest, most intelligent crypto trade, the most legit one you can, and develop a trading system, or an investing system. I'd actually say unless it's something you want to do, don't even try trading, to be honest. Just start investing. So the difference is trading is like buying and selling over a time horizon of hours or days, maybe even weeks, maybe. But the investing is, buying and holding starting from months. So I think this is going to go up. I might buy this coin, and then think to yourself, why do you think it's going to go up? What are your systems that you've put in place? What are your markers? What are your metrics that you're using to give you the choice to buy? And then do it. I'm just reiterating what someone else has taught me, but this is just in short. So go get yourself educated and just avoid the ones that are getting advertised. And if someone that is not really into crypto tries to convince you to buy a coin, that's probably the time to sell it.
Given that you have a background in trading and knowledge in crypto and assets in real estate, can you speak a little bit about how your mindset has kind of evolved when it comes to wealth and wealth building, given that you've gone into these different asset classes? Because I think your mindset has probably evolved over time. And that's something that I've heard that is one of the detriments to making money fast and young, is that, that evolution, doing the fundamentals and the things that are often required to make money the old school way or the traditional way are skipped over a lot of the time. So can you speak a little on how your mindset is now and how it's evolved to be where it is?
Well, it's evolved through my own personal gain and loss. So I've learned lessons the hard way. So when I was trading cryptocurrency, what most people would consider about money in a crypto, and I traded it myself. And so I figured it out. So my mindset has been created by going through the ups and downs of that system. Currently, I believe to not necessarily ask what people think is going to happen, what people think is going to go up and down. If anyone's got any sort of wealth or money, you ask them where their money is, because that tells you what they think. You don't need to ask what they think. A lot of the time people will, for some reason, I'm not sure why, try and convince you to buy something that they're only in 5% of their portfolio in, which is a little bit strange, but just how it works. And so to answer that myself, I'm at the moment something like 27% of my portfolios in real estate. And that was a ethical choice, because I'm asking people money to build real estate. So I thought it was only fair. I don't know. That's the sort of guy I am. I thought, look, if I'm raising money from other people for real estate, I'm going to put all of my money into real estate. So then I can sit them across from the table, look them in the eye and say, all my money's in this too. And I have a background in crypto trading.
You put your money where your mouth is.
Yes. That's where my mindset is at the moment, is put my money where my mouth is and just go for it, because there's heaps and heaps of good, clean profit to be made from real estate. And real estate development and real estate, creating new houses for people, everyone wins. It creates work for all of the people building the properties. It creates additional housing for all the families coming into the country, and also families with children looking to start their own families. Creates housing for them, and it makes a healthy profit for the developer and the investor as well. Where cryptocurrency at the moment, basically, unless the government or someone's pumping money into it, I won't go in, it gets complex. It's person versus person. You're using your money, you're betting your money that you're smarter than someone else, because when someone makes money in crypto, someone else loses money. That's how it works.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I think that's probably a great note to finish on, because I think you outlined your mindset and your philosophy and how it's like connected with your values. And essentially two of the huge asset classes that young people and, slightly more seasoned investors are involved in, especially in this economy, is in crypto and in real estate. And for those, in the West, that has been a traditional way to like outpace inflation, build wealth, and, be highly leveraged against like what's happening. So we'll finish on that note, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you for watching, and you can find us at J3VC on our socials. Feel free to like and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.
Thanks, guys. And also for all the haters out there, let's just say I did all right out of crypto. That's what I'll say. Thanks, guys.
See you. That's great. No, that was really good. And it's a bit lagging at my end. So hopefully it's recorded fine. Like even now, like the video is like